What's up, FCS fans? I'm Ray Ryan with your Big South report for Week 4. As always, I'm going to give you all the important news from around the conference, and I'm going to preview Saturday's matchups. But first, let's get you caught up on the action from Week 3. Charleston Southern and Kennesaw State were both idle, but it was certainly a tough slate of games for the Big South teams that did hit the field. Monmouth and Liberty both dropped road contests to FBS opponents. The Hawks gave up 235 yards on the ground to Kent State, including 77 to Golden Flash's QB Malik Mitchell, who also threw for 2 scores. The final from Dick Stadium was Kent State 27, Monmouth 7. And in Dallas, SMU picked off Liberty quarterbacks 4 times while also getting a 220-yard rushing performance from Braden West. It was the Mustangs over the Flames by a score of 29-14. Gardner-Webb didn't have to face an FBS team, but they did square off against a number 15 team in the FCS, the Citadel Bulldogs. And the Military College's multifaceted running attack came up big again, shredding Gardner-Webb for 419 yards. The running Bulldogs hung around, though, with 219 rushing yards of their own, but ultimately could not answer the Citadel's late score, falling by a final of 31-24. However, the one Big South team that did taste victory this past weekend was Presbyterian, as they jumped all over Campbell University early and answered their late score to take down the Fighting Camels 31-14. In his first career start, quarterback Will Brock threw for 2 TDs, and the Blue Hose defense held Campbell to just 2 of 11 on third down conversions. So with our first conference game coming up this Saturday, let's check out the Big South standings after Week 3. Despite their loss, Monmouth still holds the top spot at 2-1, followed by an idle Kennesaw State, who stands at 1-1. We then have a 4-way tie for third with Charleston Southern, Gardner-Webb, Liberty, and Presbyterian all sitting at 1-2. It should also be noted that the Big South teams have faced several FBS schools and ranked FCS teams already, so their early season schedules have been anything but easy. Now that you're caught up on Week 3, let's take a look at the matchups for Week 4, where all 6 schools will be in action and we have our first conference game. But first, I want to start with the 2 teams that I think have a good chance to claim victory, Kennesaw State and Presbyterian. Kennesaw travels to Duquesne University for a 1 p.m. kickoff, which can be seen on ESPN3, and are visiting a Dukes team that is 2-1. Duquesne dropped their opener to Youngstown State, but have won their last 2 contests over Bucknell and Dayton. The Dukes have a solid passing attack with quarterback Dylan Beekle averaging 252 yards through the air, connecting often with Wayne Capers and Blair Roberts. However, Duquesne is allowing 188 rushing yards per game, so I look for the Owls to try to take advantage of that weakness so they can control the clock and keep the ball out of Beekle's hands. I think Chandler Burks and Micah Reed will be effective once again for a Kennesaw State running game that is averaging 289 yards on the ground. And another team that I like this week is Presbyterian, who will be hosting Florida Tech in their home opener at 7 p.m. Tech is 3-0, but they're a Division II team who has not faced the toughest of schedules so far, with wins over Newberry, Mississippi College, and Shorter. Now, the Panthers do have a multi-dimensional running game with Mark Cato under center, who has also thrown for 646 yards. Presbyterian defensive tackle Cameron Mack already has 3 sacks on the season, though, so I look for him to get some pressure on Cato and help stop the run. I also think Will Brock will have another strong performance as a Blue Hose signal caller against the Florida Tech team, allowing 226 yards per game passing. On the other hand, 2 teams who I think will have a tougher time in Week 4 are Liberty and Gardner-Webb. Liberty will host the number 3 team in the FCS and last year's national runner-up Jacksonville State at 7 p.m. Gamecocks quarterback Eli Jenkins was last year's FCS ADA National QB of the Year, and he has lived up to that billing so far, throwing for 726 yards and rushing for 294 in the season's first 3 games. I don't see the Flames being able to slow Jenkins down, so they'll need to continue to be opportunistic on defense. Liberty has recovered 6 fumbles and picked off 4 passes already, so their 2 freshman stars, D lineman Juwan Wells and quarterback Tyron Holloway, have to continue to make big plays. And the other team that has a big test on Saturday is Gardner-Webb, as they travel to Ohio University of the FBS in a game that can also be seen on ESPN3 at 2 p.m. Ohio is 1-2, but their losses are in triple overtime to Texas State and at the number 12 team in the FBS, Tennessee. The Bobcats have been dominating the line of scrimmage after averaging 218 yards on the ground so far, while yielding only 111. Dual threat QB Greg Wyndham has thrown for 790 and has run for 226, so he certainly spells trouble for a Gardner-Webb defense that allows 247 rushing yards per contest. To keep this one close, the running Bulldogs signal caller Tyrell Maxwell should look to exploit holes in the Ohio pass defense, which allows an average of 283 yards in the air. And finally, the biggest matchup this week is our first conference game of 2016, in which defending Big South champs Charleston Southern travel to Monmouth for a 1 p.m. kickoff on ESPN3. The Buccaneers sit at number 11 in the FCS coaches poll, but it really is amazing how much adversity they've already dealt with in this young season. Starting QB Kyle Copeland is gone for the year with a torn ACL and MCL, and backup QB Shane Buchanel and running back / return man Darius Hammond also sustained injuries in the Kentucky State game. It's possible, though, that sitting against Florida State and having last week's bye could help Buchanel and Hammond return from injury. Charleston Southern also has running back Mike Holloway, who is averaging 97 yards rushing and has 4 TDs, and they have simply dominated Monmouth in their first 2 meetings, outscoring the Hawks 64-7. Monmouth is dealing with an injury, too, as starting running back Levon Chaney left their Week 2 game early and set out last week's contest. If he can't go this Saturday, Monmouth will need more production from its QB tandem of Cody Williams and Kenji Bahar, who have combined for only 188 passing yards per game and 1 TD. The Hawks will also need to do a better job on third down than they did against Kent State, where they allowed the Golden Flashes to convert 8 of 16 times while being held to only 2 for 16 themselves. Well, that's it for the Week 4 Big South Report. I'm Ray Ryan, and as always, I hope you enjoy the games.